What is going on, YouTube people? New York Cards and Comics here. Another day, another hobby business entity buying up another hobby business entity. This time, CGC gets into the mix and gobbles up JSA. For those not familiar with JSA, they are primarily an autograph authentication group. They do a lot of stuff with memorabilia, cards as well, but a lot of autograph authentication stuff. And this was a major component that CGC was lacking, or CCG, but we're thrown into the CCG or CGC here. This was a huge hole in their arsenal. The one thing that they did not do was any sort of autograph authentication. They did witnessed signature authentication, so they would have people into their building and you could send items in to get signed, and then they would slab them up, either cards or comics, with a witnessed label. So that means that someone was present and actually watched the person sign the collectible, which is the gold standard. That's the ultimate. So that was great, but they didn't do anything with, if you had something signed in person, getting that slabbed up like Beckett does, like PSA does. On the card side of things, that was not the biggest deal in the world because most people just said the Beckett or PSA. On the comic book side of things, it was, because it was a major advantage that Beckett, aka CBCS, had over CGC. A lot of people would get in-person autos on books or magazines, would want to get them authenticated and slabbed, and CGC would not even offer the service. They sent out an email today, basically starting in April, this is going to all go down. Now, the big question, at least on the comic side of things, is how are they going to handle the labeling? That is the biggest thing I'm seeing bandied around in the comic book world. CGC has different colored labels depending on what's going on with the book. If it's just a standard blue label, that's just a regular old, standard issue label. They have green labels for non-authenticated signatures, yellow labels for their witness signatures. The yellow label for the witness signature is going to be the key designation here. Do they continue to use that yellow label for authenticated autos by JSA? I assume they'll note it. That's what CBCS does. CBCS notes on the label, it'll say witnessed versus verified. I would imagine they're at minimum going to do that, and probably, if they were smart, I would actually just have a completely different color label and keep the sanctity of the yellow label, because a lot of people put a lot of value on the yellow label because you know that it is 100% legitimate. Now, this is something we actually talked about, I think it was about 8 or 9 months ago, when I interviewed Andy and Matt from CGC when they did the whole blue label and grading scale swap out to the current black label that they're on, and got rid of 9.5 as gem mint and all that stuff. During that interview, and this is the video that I posted as a follow-up piece to that interview, we talked about CGC Signature Series, and Andy had a throwaway line, which I picked up on after the fact, where he specifically mentioned, we want to do more with Signature Series. And then he also said, and autograph authentication. That immediately threw up some very interesting, autograph authentication, because that was not something they were currently doing. I know back then a lot of people were skeptical, but I had a sneaking suspicion when he said that in the interview that it wasn't just a slip up. So we had discussed back then about CGC moving into this space. Like I said, I think on the trading card side, it's nice for sure. It gives us another competitor against PSA and Beckett when it comes to options for sending in cards that you want to get authenticated. So that's really, really good on the card side of things. Anytime you have more competition, that's a good thing for them to keep each other honest. On the comic side, this has way bigger ramifications, I think. On the card world, this will probably be a, okay, that's nice. On the comic world, I think this is going to be a much, much bigger deal. It is the one major advantage CBCS had. You would see a lot of people say, "Oh, I got to send this to CBCS so I can get this. I want to get this verified signature book slabbed," and CGC does not offer it. That will no longer be the case. I saw some people speculating about, "Oh, this is CGC's response to collectors buying SGC." I mean, that's a cute idea to throw out there. The way that I understand when most of these deals go down, this stuff takes months to happen. This was probably in the works well before the PSA slash SGC announcement from collectors came down the pipe. Now, it's always fun watching these big companies kind of gather up the assets, if you will, and kind of position themselves against each other as they pick up the pieces. Another little side angle here. There have been a lot of talk in the tag groups about tag partnering with JSA to handle autograph authentication. Since tag is a card grading, well, a card software evaluation company, whatever you want to call it. There was talks that they were going to partner with JSA to handle autograph authentication. I highly doubt that happens now. There is no way CCG is going to buy JSA and then let them still go ahead and do that. In the email that they sent out, they even talk about that they will continue to run as a separate company for a very short period of time and then fully be incorporated in. This is not a PSA SGC collectors thing where they're out front saying, "Oh, no, they will exist as an independent company." CCG is being very straightforward about this, basically saying, no, they probably aren't going to exist anymore. They are just going to be part of the CCG or CGC group, CCG groups, too many C's, too many G's, group of companies. So I would be shocked if they allowed them to help tag out in any way, shape, or form with autograph authentication. I could be wrong. That's just me speculating. So the hobby continues to move and shake. Big companies continue to acquire other not as big companies. And I think we're going to continue to see this consolidation. We talked a couple weeks ago about rumors about something happening with Golden Auctions. That still has not happened yet, but I think everyone was pointing towards April for whatever is going down there to be announced. So that'll be another little shakeup in the industry. I think some of the other companies, been hearing some things, have a few tricks up their sleeve that we could potentially see over the next few months as we head into warmer weather. Fun stuff as always, as the mega corporations continue to battle it out against each other. This will not be the last acquisition that we see, though I will say this is a pretty smart one. Like I said at the top, this was a big thing that CGC was missing from their arsenal, and this is a very easy way to do it. JSA is fairly well respected in like the sports and sports memorabilia side of things. They didn't do encapsulation. There was rumors they were going to start heading in that direction. So smart pickup by CGC here to give them an extra offering. Is it a service that I would take advantage of? Probably not on the card side of things. I look at CGC still more for signature series stuff. I like the witness signatures. I like the fact that you could send in your own individual items and have them signed. I don't do a whole lot of in-person autograph stuff, especially on the card side of things. Maybe a comic book, if I had a comic or a magazine autographed by someone, sending something like that in. But I would almost rather just wait for a CGC signature event. So for me, this isn't necessarily my game. I don't know that this affects me that much, but I do think it is a good piece for them to add. Basically, the way things are shaping up on the grading space is it's going to end up being PSA / collectors basically versus CCG. Those are the battlegrounds. Those are the two big bad boys in the room. Now, I'm not talking about resale value on individual slabs and sports and this, that, or the other thing. Just in general of two large companies positioning themselves. They each do things a little bit differently. They each have some things that they're strong in and some things that they're weak in. PSA just picked up SGC. Now CCG adds JSA. Once again, I don't think that was in direct response. I think this is everyone out there that is we'll put Fanatics as the megacorp, and then everybody else below that. Everybody else below that is trying to pick up pieces and add to the repertoire to battle off or to compete with or to be able to at least stand firm against the Fanatics behemoth. We'll see what Fanatics ends up doing with grading. Do they figure out a way to pry Beckett out? Do they spin up their own thing? Or do they ultimately just partner with someone and not even enter the space at all? Interesting times as always. Curious for your thoughts and comments down below. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.